Shannon, Town Clerk.
To look at, to get started with, but it's really point out some of the highlights and explain a few of the changes that we've made. To start off with the salaries, there's only two salaries that were increased. One was for the tax collector, which went up a whole whopping $100 for the year.
What page is that? Last.
Yeah. Tax collector went from $4,400 to $4,500, so it was a $100 increase. She has not received an increase in a few years, and we did agree to increase that. The deputy clerk is the only other personnel in the general that was increased from $300 to $600 for the year in case we need some extra help to help Mary out at some point. We just wanted to have a little extra money in that budget, so it went from $300 to $600. The highway employees received, or including a 1.5% increase, which brings their hourly rate up to $19.58 per hour for the two highway employees. And the superintendent received the same increase, 1.5%, which brings his salary up to a total of $49,543. Other than that, minor increases and decreases throughout the accounts as we saw fit to cover the expenses. No major increases. The tax rate for the year is actually going down slightly from 49.77 per thousand to 49.07 per thousand of assessed rate, which really is very minor. You probably won't even realize it, but it is slightly lower than last year's budget. The total amount raised by taxes is identical to last year, which is $104,580. There has been no increase to that as far as going from year to year. We continue to not increase taxes as we have sufficient revenues to offset the budget, and we're working very hard to be conservative with the budget numbers and throughout the year to maintain those numbers so we don't have to pass along an increase. Total appropriations from last year's budget to this year's budget decreased approximately $18,000. So our total appropriations for this year's budget between highway and general is $644,144. Mainly that decrease was from the DEC finishing up this project. We no longer will be budgeting the amount we had to cover this project that we've underwent with closure finally coming to an end. I mean, I just can't believe that we can finally be out of this shortly. So they still have not, and I'll go through that separate issue later. But that basically wraps up the budget. Just to point out on the highway budget, just so people have an idea of what is planned for the roads. The blacktopping of Pleasant Vale Road from the bridge that joins Livingston on the Rojan. We're going to blacktop 0.8 of a mile coming from the bridge, coming west. Blacktop and true level Pleasant Vale and Macella Road, stone top, 2 coats on Mountain View Road, oiled stone, Macella Road, and blacktop the entrance to Language Road. So that just gives people an idea what roads are going to be seeing some work next year in this budget. Other than that, the only purchase we have planned under the highway department would be a new pickup truck, which is in the budget, which has been budgeted for in the capital budget, so there's not going to be any increase to the budget for that. But we are planning on purchasing a new pickup truck to replace the 2011 Ford F-350, and that'll be part of our agenda later. But again, it's all incorporated in this budget. Other than that, I believe that's basically the budget in a nutshell. No increase. Revenues picked up, so we were allowed, happy to be allowed to increase the allotted revenue line a little bit to adjust for the extra revenues. So that helps offset the costs and the expenses for the town. So again, I'll go over that later in the meeting as well, the numbers we have for the up-to-date sales tax. So with that being said, before I open up to the public, is there any other questions or comments from the board members? I will certainly entertain any questions from the public at this point.
Mine are questions, just so I understand it better.
Sure. Could you please step up so we can...
Maybe have a voice, I don't know, we'll see. At the end of here, where you have the salaries,
Yes.
Mary Helen did not read the last two, the building inspector and the assessor. Is that a different budget line, or how does that go?
They are in the general budget. I don't know why they're not listed on these salaries, but that is the correct salaries. $7,500 for the building inspector, code enforcement officer, and the assessor, $15,207, which has not changed.
All righty, thank you. In terms of, just that these are just explanations, because it's the first time I actually saw a budget like that. So could you explain to me what personal services are and what that entails?
Personal services is...
In your line, you know, A 1,010, for example.
Are you talking on the supervisor line?
Yeah, lots of lines, there are like town boards, so those are salaries, right?
Personal services are salaries, correct.
All right.
So you'll see the personal service under town board is 10,000, it's 2,500 each for them four, equals a 10,000.
All right.
Under mine's a little bit different because it doesn't explain it. It shows personal services 5,500, which is my salary, but under point 4, if you look down 3 lines, it shows $10,000. That's the bookkeeper that's in that line as well. So
Okay, that's,
yeah,
thank
it's
you.
not completely listed out.
Yeah, that's right, I mean, it's.
Contractual services, the
Yeah.
bookkeeper.
Okay, so contractual services would then also include things that go with the office that needs support.
If it's a separate
if it's a
contract,
separate
outside
one.
contract,
Right.
correct.
Okay, that was another question later on.
Anything that's listed as a point 4, so the
Uh-huh.
number would be contractual services.
Okay, thank you.
Correct.
Alrighty. Okay, so, and so then the control of dogs, so for the 4,325 is a kind of a compensation for the work.
That is
Right.
the salary, correct, the
Right,
yearly
okay.
salary.
Got it. All right. One question that came to mind, I mean, I see the line of workers' comp, but we don't give workers' comp. Is that something a town can do?
We do carry workers' compensation
Okay.
on the highway employees.
Okay.
Any full-time employee would have workers' compensation coverage.
Okay, but not the hourlies, right? Of course not. Okay, got it. Okay. See, on page 11, which is your page 12, maybe, if you count the first page.
I'm sorry, hourly.
It might be.
Anybody that's employed, that we hire would be covered by workers' comp. I'm sorry, I didn't misspeak.
Okay.
Anybody that's hired under a service, hourly or salary is covered by workers' comp.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, but then sometimes there's no number when there, so it's just a global thing, an umbrella thing that happens.
That's just the total amount that's budgeted that will be used. I mean, we shouldn't have enough to cover anybody that we hire part-time. That's why the salaries, it's included in part-time salary or any hourly salaries, their salaries.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right, so DA, you know, I don't know, I guess that's how you work it. DA 5130.2, page 12 if you count the first page, but I didn't count that one, so I numbered it as 11.
Maybe
For
in the
the
highway department.
Highway department.
Yeah.
So this pickup truck is at $25,000, right, which you allocated to buy under equipment?
No. The difference with the highway, with the purchase of the vehicle is we're going to have, when we sell the old truck, we're going to have the money from that. We have money left over from, it's actually going to happen in this year's budget, not, this is next year's budget.
Okay.
So it's actually going to be,
Okay.
and I did misspeak when I said it was in next year's budget. We do have enough money in this year's budget to include that purchase of that new truck. So that's why it's not showing up in this budget.
Okay.
I'm
So
sorry.
then, so I still don't understand, I'm a little slow sometimes. On the equipment budget this year is amended 2018, under machinery, $25,000. Is there already something envisioned for it, or it's just a
Under-
number?
25,000 under snow removal, not machinery.
Oh, it says equipment, I think.
Under equipment,
Yes.
yes. It's under contractual expenses.
I don't know, it's equipment DA.
Page 11?
5130.2, equipment.
It does show equipment.
Oh, my copy.
No, 3,500.
Okay, so that's
Last
my
year.
next question. So it says budget this year is amended, it says 25,000, and then a tentative budget, it says 3,500. So this- what's happening?
Budget this year is gonna be.
I'm not following you on the one I have
It's
in
the
front of me.
column, I think. It's the 3,500, it says, budget officers tentative budget for 2018 under DA 5130.2. And I think the prior column says budget this year as amended, says 2018. That should probably say 2017. The heading for that column, the second from the right,
Mind if I take a look at this? That's not the copy I have.
this here.
Yeah, that's not in my copy. So the $3,500 is the purchase of a hot water pressure washer, which is budgeted under equipment. That's the $3,500. I don't know why it's not in my copy of it. The $15,000 is the next line down, which is contractual. And that is for all the miscellaneous other equipment that he buys to fix up his, parts and stuff. So that's why, I'm sorry, I didn't have.
All right,
Yeah,
I
they
just want
got
to
it.
show you what I have to see.
But I think it's the
Don't get
column heading is
confused.
the problem. This is 2018.
Yeah, that should have been
Yeah, on that page it says 2018.
it's amended tentative budget. So yeah, this column, this is the column we're working on for the tentative budget
Alright.
right here.
Okay, so this was last year's then.
Yeah, that was
Okay.
last year's, it's just
All right.
25,000 less.
Yeah.
Yeah, for some reason the highway,
Well, it should
two
have been
pages
17.
came out in 2018. I don't know
Should
why.
be 17.
It should say
Yeah,
2017.
17. But the
Yeah.
right column is the correct column, correct? I don't know why I didn't have to for you.
It is right.
I was looking at this.
All right,
So
and
it is
then-
okay.
Thanks for the clarification, so. And I think the last one I think I have is, I love that, I think the historian one, you're getting something for your budget. You're going to build things so we can look at
Well, one
things.
thing is that I have, well, some of that is for me to go to the annual conference.
Mhm.
Like I went last week to the Association of Public Historians in New York State. It was in Poughkeepsie. So I didn't have any travel expense or anything for that. Next year it's in Rochester. And then I also in there have I actually have a grant for about $92, but it might cost me a little bit more in 2017 to take the ship that's next door and pack it up so that it can be properly stored upstairs until I find a grant in order to repair it.
Okay.
But it could be something like that.
Yeah.
Where was that?
Under
It's,
What page?
Page 7. If you
Page 7, thank you.
right, if 900
The
or
whole
$950.
$950.
Yeah, no, it's great, and I think it's just something that, as a community, it'd be great to have
Right, right.
some historical stuff.
Well, as
so-
I was going to say this during the regular meeting, but I'll say it here, is that it's a state law by law, all municipalities and all counties in New York State have to have a historian. Although there's no funds for it and there's really no penalty if you don't have one.
And as a teacher of history, of course, I embrace that wholeheartedly, right? So I was just a question so people can also know that we're doing things here as well, so that was pretty good. For the, just quickly for the parks, which also includes the brownfield, the money you're proposing will take care of everything we have to pay up the DEC and all that. That's on page 6, just the page before the historian question.
The parks we did put some money into, so we had some leeway. Brownfields is actually the line which if we have to do anything more than DEC, which should be also have its own line, which would be, where is it? The pages. The parks is just money for the parks. We put money, Brownfields has its own line, which
7110 is the account.
7110?
0.42.
Yeah, it's okay, it's under parks, it's on the lower part of brownfields, we put $5,000 in the brownfields line, just if there's any residual costs that we didn't expect So we had some money. The actual money that's in the parks, which is $13,500, is to do some initial screening, to get us going with whatever we can start working on, and then plus whatever we can raise as far as grants.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And if anybody else has any questions, I'm glad to answer whatever we can now here. But also, we do have a budget workshop when we work on this where we go line by line, which maybe is easier to explain what every single thing is that we put in the budget and where it goes. But anybody would like to attend that, obviously, before the budget. It certainly explains where everything is and why it's there.
And I was here and you were wonderful, except that we didn't have a copy, so it was very difficult. So maybe next time we can project it so we can see it with safe paper and we can actually go through it. Because I think,
That's not a bad idea,
because that-
absolutely.
my questions arose because I had pages and pages of notes, which I couldn't consolidate once I got that, so it might help, plus also save some paper and work, so.
Okay,
But thank you.
you're welcome. Hope I answered everything. Is there anybody else that has any questions?
I think there's one question.
Oh, see, I waited long enough. All right. Okay.
Do I have to
Yeah,
stand up?
please, please.
It worked out very badly today. How much do we charge for use on Sundays in the schoolhouse there? And on what page would that be?
We have a specific group that rents that from us for a monthly
Right,
fee.
which page would
It's
that be?
under, what is
Just want to
it?
make sure that I,
It's a $4,000 charge for the year.
okay, so
$1,000 quarterly.
which
And
page
it's
is
under,
that?
what is it, park?
Revenue 2025.
You go all the way back, and I don't have labeled numbers, but
Page,
Yeah, it's about 4 or 5 pages from the
if
end.
you go back to general revenues,
wait a minute. General revenues.
and it is under facility charges, A2025.
What page? Oh, I have it. No.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from the end, 6 from the end? 6 from the end.
So what page is that?
6 pages from the end.
1, 2, 3,
We don't label
4, 5, 6.
them. Should say general appropriate, or revenues at the top, general fund revenues. About a quarter of the way down. 2025 is the code, A022025, facility
Okay.
charges.
Okay, it's on page 9.
Page 9.
Yeah,
Where is it?
right here.
Part of the way down?
Oh, 4,000, oh, there it is.
You
Oh,
got it.
okay, that was my question,
That
that
is it,
Sarah
yes.
asked all the others.
The yearly
Okay,
bill.
that's the schoolhouse, all righty. Thank you.
Well,
Okay, that's it for me.
Anybody else? Any questions? Okay, if not, I will close the public hearing. Thank you. That being said, I'd like to call the November meeting to order with salute to the flag, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, let's get started this evening with the approval of prior town board meeting minutes.
I do have an item on the second page under Iroquois Community Grant. Instead of saying that that grant was, the deadline for that grant was December 15th, it's actually November 1st.
November 1st. Okay. All right, you got that?
The cutoff date, December 1st.
November.
1st.
Oh, November.
November 1st, yep, so. And I'll talk about that in my report.
November 1st.
Any other comments, or corrections on those minutes? Need a motion to accept the amended minutes, corrected minutes?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, let's start out with the written reports. The clerk report, please, Mary. Let's start with the clerk report.
Okay. Town clerk's report for October 2017. Community house lease, $1,000. Dog licenses, $32.50. Building permits, $425. Certificates of occupancy, $225. Vital statistics, marriage license, $17.50. Solid waste fees, $4. Decals, $2.87. Total check for general fund, $1,706.87. Trust and agency, escrow for subdivision, $26.36. Total check for trust and agency, $26.36. So paid to the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation for hunting and fishing, $49.13. Paid to New York State Department of Agriculture and Markets for dog licenses, $13. Paid to New York State Department of Health for marriage license, $22.50. Paid to the Columbia County Treasurer for solid waste fees, $51. So the total for October, $1,868.86.
Okay, a motion to accept the clerk's report.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. And just to mention real quick, we just talked about this, that was, the community lease was in there for $1,000, so that was the payment we were just talking about, we get 4 times a year quarterly. Thank you, Mary.
Okay, well,
They also do work, they have somebody come in and clean the building over there. Right? And they also donated the elevator that we have for handicap, so they do other things for the town as well.
Okay, let's,
It's
now
good to
review.
see it used. That's what Ford's there.
What do you got today?
okay, the Office for the Aging, they are looking for volunteers to deliver the Meals on Wheels, to do the driving. It doesn't take much, just a little of your time, an hour or so, a month, a week, or as often as you would like. Delivering meals will make an enormous difference in a senior's day. If you are interested in being part of something important, contact us about our volunteer opportunities, and you can join us in making a difference. Call us today to explore how you can help. And I will have this information. You can call me and I'll be happy to give it to you.
Could that go on the website?
Yeah, I can put something on there.
Yeah, I think that would be really great if you did, or even, and also outside,
Mhm.
and also possibly
I
all
usually-
your names. It's missing some letters, but, you know, it's casual.
We don't have that much in the budget.
I'll kick in.
Okay.
Okay, and we got this email. We got this email from a resident in town. Please extend my personal thanks to Jim Potts and his staff for the excellent work they did in providing drainage and additional soil and material to my driveway and to the adjacent town road. The work was professional and neat and done in a timely manner. I appreciate their willingness in providing it in the first place. It's working well as the water is draining properly. It is comforting to know that my town is so responsive to the needs of its residents and stands ready to help with such competent personnel as those of the Highway Department. My thanks again.
Very nice. So we put a copy of that in the highway department's mailbox.
In there, okay. I did,
Okay.
yes, I did leave them a copy. Okay, we have a notice of public hearing from the town of Red Hook. This will take place on November 14th, 2017 at 7:35 p.m. at the town hall on South Broadway in Red Hook. This is on proposed local law to amend the zoning law regarding solar energy systems. I have a copy of their local law if anyone wants to look at it. That's that, and that's all I have.
Very good. Thank you,
Oh,
Mary.
no, I'm sorry, there is
Too
one
late.
more thing. And we have a little bit of we don't know exactly the time because I did not get the phone call direct, but I believe it's at 10:30 Saturday morning, Veterans Day, November 11th. The veterans will be here to hold a service that they usually do and present us with the flag, as they usually do every year. So Saturday, November 11th, we believe it's 10:30 a.m.
Yeah,
As close as we can
That's
get
an
it.
approximate time because they go to Livingston first at 10 o'clock, then here, and then Germantown after that, so it's usually 10, 10:30, and and 11. And then they go back to the Legion Hall for hot dogs if anybody would like.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Mary.
Okay,
That's it?
that's it.
Okay. Correspondence for the web committee. Anybody have any comments, suggestions? The web committee. Okay.
Is there ever hope for like an exciting website for the town?
Exciting
Rather than-
website?
It's just so stale. I mean, it's like, you know, generations ago, that's how they look. Is there any
We're certainly open for
Energy
volunteers that might
forwarded.
want to steer us in the right direction with some help on that. I mean, certainly,
Yeah, the look and feel of it could be refreshed fairly easily. It's just a question of spending some time, and if we, depends on how much we want to update. There could be some, financial costs as well, depending on what
So that's
exactly.
if we were to leave the money aside, I mean, is there like, are we restricted? I mean, because of its structure, I mean, that is behind it, or can we go with really like new kind of software stuff? I mean, it used to be Dreamweaver and all that stuff, but I mean, we have others,
Right.
Joomla and stuff like that. Can
Yeah,
we
it's
go
based-
somewhere like that?
It's based off of something called Drupal, which is pretty similar to Joomla. So if we put the time in and look through different themes, we can change a lot of the look fairly easily. If we're looking at content, then it's more of a question of, who's going to keep it up to date and, et cetera. But there's no technical barriers,
If we
really.
were to look for some, I mean, we can find volunteers and stuff, and we can probably organize that, but I'm just, it seems like we're stuck somewhere. Is it because of the time commitment, or what? I mean, that's why I always thought, I mean, either it was the time, or, we're so antiquated with what we have that we can't really jump into the 21st century. So, and I know Chris knows about computers a lot, so.
So does Evan.
Yeah, but it
Yeah.
seems
I mean,
not to
with-
reflect, it
between
doesn't
the two of
reflect
us,
on
you're
this
right.
website. I mean,
You're
people are
right.
frustrated, that's what I'm trying to say. I mean,
Well,
you know,
if we're talking content, we have volunteers or people who have ideas on how they would like to make it look different. The reason it looks the way it is because there haven't been concrete proposals of let's do this to make it better.
I mean, we have mentioned, years ago that we would be willing to help, but, it's a two-way street too, but, let's not go there.
I think really pulling together and getting a collection of what we want on there and how we want it to look, and then we could move forward. It's kind of like searching for a house, but you don't know what kind of house you want, So if we kind of identify things, information, and the purpose is, if it's going to be something that's going to have frequent updates, I think we can approach it from a different perspective. If you want it to be aesthetically nice looking, then, how do we want to approach that? And if we can actually, I don't know, maybe we pull together a committee if there's that big of a, something that we want to do with it. But I think really it's coming up with a plan to start with. It's not, can we do this, well, we can do a lot of things, but let's put it all together, because you could have conflicting information. Essentially when you're putting something together, you want to know how you want to put it together. So you want to do that up front, put a plan together.
It's also, to have, up-to-date information, which.
yeah, we certainly can work towards that, coming up in the new year. I mean, why don't we take a look at seeing, if we can maybe put something together, maybe a subcommittee or something to give us a collective, ideas, from a bunch of people that we can kind of concentrate on trying to implement it with what we have or changing.
It'll be fun, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly something we can look into, because it's been, I don't know, forever. It's been, since I can remember, the same system, same
Yeah,
design.
we haven't really changed anything.
And it certainly could have some improvements, so we can look into that. We will. Okay, what do you got?
I don't know if everybody's noticed, we got a new sidewalk to the community house. That will keep a lot of dirt out of the building in the wintertime. It'll also make it a lot easier for shoveling snow. And we've done the cost basically just the concrete, because the highway department did bulk of the work along with donations from Stats Contracting in the finishing of it, and I thought it came out very well. So, right, thank you.
Oh, no, you're welcome, it looks good.
And it looks like they're about ready to start paving, finishing the paving of the entrance to the park, which we've been asking for quite a while. My understanding is that DEC got several estimates on cost, and finally we recommended, or the highway department recommended a different one, and they've gotten a different estimate that was a little less. We could have still gotten it a little cheaper if they had found a way to reimburse us, but they couldn't. So that's preliminary work has been done over there, and they originally, DEC wanted to just do a couple of little spots where there's some low spots and fix those, and Ray, I know, talked with them and argued about fixing the whole thing rather than a patch-up job. And my understanding is that the salesman from Colarusso actually took pictures in the last rainstorm and sent the pictures to them. And so where they've got it marked out now, they're gonna do the bulk of it, and it should be an improvement. We'll know soon enough.
We don't want to hear should be, we want will be.
Well, we've wanted that for quite a while.
Yeah, I
And if you
know.
remember, originally there was water running across that road, and so they decided to hollow out a little area to collect the water, and all it did was make a place for water to build up and run faster across it, so it didn't help. Then they dug 3 holes and filled them with stone. That helped a little bit. It's a little better than it was in the beginning, but we still weren't satisfied. And, it's tough to work with New York State, okay? But it's coming to the end,
Yeah.
believe it or not.
But we still hold the cards because they want to get paid, and we haven't paid them a dime. So we certainly will not release it until we're happy and satisfied that they've done it correctly.
Right,
Yeah.
right. No, that is good.
Okay.
And the other thing I think was mentioned when we talked about budget, but I talked to Jimmy today, and he's expecting to get his new pickup truck. They've told him by the end of the month. The schedules for building those trucks varies a little bit, so it may go into the next month. We're hoping that it'll be in November.
Okay.
And then once that's done, he will put his current truck out on the computer for bids for selling it.
The auction.
Yeah, the auction, yeah. And the last time we put something out there for auction, we did pretty well.
Joe's just gonna look at, which is a copy of the actual revenues of deposits. We did sell that bush hog for the tractor, $2,550, which was very good. Jimmy expected $2,000, I think, a little over.
Yeah. Well,
How old was it?
$2,550. I don't have that with me now. I had it before.
Was it an older
It
one?
wasn't that old. I mean, 5 years old? I don't remember. But, yeah, so we did very well
This
with
wasn't the
that.
whole track, this is just the.
Just the brush,
mower.
just the actual mower deck itself, the brush hog itself. So, but yeah, that auction site is used by several municipalities. It seems to be the best way to get the best price for equipment and vehicles, because it goes nationwide. Anybody that wants to bid on it can. And I know several town supervisors told me the same thing. They've been out very well on it, and we've seen it now twice because we sold a couple things on it. So
Yeah.
absolutely working well. And it's approved by the state controller, so that actually helps. Okay, all right, move on. Bob, yeah, Evan, you got anything to add on that?
There hasn't been too much new on the site. The video was put up more quickly. I think it was the first week after, so you probably were able to see that, Phyllis. Beyond that, I think there haven't been any inquiries really, so nothing to report.
Okay.
How many, can you tell how many people you've got looking at that?
Yeah, I can. I don't have the number off the top of my head, but there is a count, and it goes up over time because we've used the same post, but I could check at a point of time a month later and see how many.
Might be interesting, before we decide if we're gonna spend any money to do improvements, it might be interesting to see how much it's being used.
Yeah, we can
And
certainly
maybe
get
do
those
some
numbers,
improvements
yes.
Is there 10
that
people,
don't,
is there 100 people?
that don't cost money, and then it'll get used a little more, and then maybe it'll be worth spending
Right,
some money.
that may give you some false information. If we improve it and people start using it more, you maybe see a number grow. Whereas, you know, if it's very low right now, maybe it's because
They're
there's
frustrated.
Still.
They're
people
not
using
going
it,
there
Very
anymore.
frustrating.
they don't have the information.
Yeah, but it would be nice to know now, and then if we.
Right,
Get a
absolutely.
baseline.
See what
Right,
happens.
the comparison will be,
Yeah.
you know, informationally, regardless, it'd be good information to see.
All right.
I think, let's not worry about the money, because I think we can find money for these things. I mean, I'll help you.
We could probably get some money like
You
from
know, if we
Bank of
always
Greene
worry about, I
County.
mean, this is the face of our town. Its
Yeah.
online presence is to be desired. And we're a great town, and so why not show what we do and what you do? I mean, you do a lot of work for this town.
Well,
And it
absolutely,
should
but
be-
we
it
also
should be
have to
featured.
we have to be conscious of money
So-
too. I mean, that's our job. I mean,
Right.
obviously, to manage money, so I mean,
Yeah,
certainly if
I
we can collect grants or, you know.
I
it's-
understand your, you know, and I'm grateful for that. But I think it should not handicap us. If, you know, if as a community we say we can find resources for this, and we'll be willing to do that, to make this, you know, work, so.
Yeah, I don't think the primary concern is money, unless there was a plan that was, you could have a plan that would cost a lot of money, but I suspect that money's not the primary concern, it's just, there's been suggestions of things that would be nice to have on the website, which I agree would be nice, but they would require a lot of work. For example, if we increase Mary's workload, that doesn't come for free. So it's kind of resources, plus we have to keep an eye on the money, but it's really, you know, can we get ideas, and what amount of work can we do with the volunteers that we have
And we'll
available?
make sure that the management content, I mean, that people, it won't be overwhelming and you have to do C++, you know, I mean, I don't want that. I really want something that, you know.
Yeah, I think we
it's
can find
easy,
something.
Move an icon somewhere, whatever. I mean,
It has to,
things out
it has
there.
to really be simple, okay? I'm on the other side. You are knowledgeable about the computers, and so are you, and I know some other people. But for someone like me, I want to go online and I want to get the facts, okay? If there's a public hearing, I just want to get into that computer and find out when the date of the public hearing is. It's really very simple.
And that's already
You
posted.
know, and there's so many people in the community who make their living with computers and designing programs, and they'd be more than willing. And once it's set up, you just plug it in. It's not a burden on Mary.
Well, what you suggested as an example is something that we already do and we've been doing for forever. So I'm sometimes a little puzzled as
Because we don't
to,
see it, I mean, it didn't, the first thing,
It's-
this time around, it's wonderful, we have to ham dinner, that's great. But then we have a public hearing, it's somewhere embedded somewhere.
No, it's right on the
Right on the
homepage. It's right there. That's where I post them, the announcements.
Where
I didn't
Anything
see
like
the one
that,
for
yeah.
this
I
public
didn't see
hearing.
it, I'm sorry.
I didn't see the one for this public hearing.
You know why? Because I deleted it by mistake,
Okay.
thinking that it was from last month.
Okay.
Well.
Because then when you,
That explains
it was up there,
There
it
you
was
go.
up there, but I did delete it,
I did,
I have to say.
Now we got the real
But
story.
normally,
Before she deleted it.
Before she deleted it, I did see
you
it.
did see it. And I don't know why, but I thought it was from last month. And I said, well, because if I don't delete them, it would be forever and ever and ever. It would just go on forever. So I do delete things, and I got thinking about it, and I
Alright,
said,
well,
I
the
think I
moral of the
deleted the
story
wrong
is,
thing.
we need to take a look at the website, and we will certainly see what we can do to try to give it a little spruce up. We'll do something with that. All right, Dawn.
so, as I spoke about at last month's meeting, there was an opportunity through the Iroquois community to submit a grant for the Headling property. We did get some information from Scenic Hudson, but it really was not enough that in the time that we had, that we could examine it and kind of parse it out a little bit more and then get that costed out. So the next time that grant comes around is the next deadline is May 1st. And then within about 45 days, we would get a reply back to them as far as what their funding would be. There is another one that Ray gave me last month through New York Trails that I want to look at a little bit more. Possibly if we get some ideas and are able to cost something out, maybe we could start doing something. That one, the due date is December 8th. If we could cost some things out, there's a possibility that we could submit that grant and at least, kind of get the ball rolling on that. So I'll be in touch with you and Bob
Okay.
in the interim to see if we can do something and submit that one for December 8th.
Okay.
And other than that, I think that's all I have right now.
Okay, thank you, Dawn. I skipped right over Chris. I'm sorry.
No, I kind of felt like I said what I had to say already, so.
Okay. All right. And I know the code enforcement officer is thrilled with his hookup, his laptop, his printer is working great.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
No, he was very appreciative. I spent some time with him, getting everything, most of it set up. So I'm glad he's happy with it.
He's very happy, and he told me that again Thursday night. So again, thank you for all your involvement in that. So excellent.
Thank you.
Okay, just move on. Whoop.
I'm sorry, just one thing, a reminder for those that are here, tomorrow night's the election
Oh,
dinner.
right.
Yes,
4 to
Mary.
6.
No, 5 to 7.
On baking tomorrow morning, yeah.
I have 5 to 7.
5 to 7 or 4 to 6?
4 to 6
5 to
is what
7.
I
5 to
was
7.
told, I
Five to
No,
think.
it starts at 4, I think.
Yeah.
Sign
The
says
It does. I
says
believe
5
so.
to 7.
I think
Well-
that's accepting some of your baked goods.
Okay,
That's
I
it.
think it's 5 is.
I'm gonna deliver it by 3.
5 to 7.
Give me 1 minute, I'll
This is
go to
a
the website.
well-organized group here,
Right.
let me say that.
The sign
know.
out front, I
Put
believe
it
says
on the web.
5.
I'm gonna go, it is on the website, so
Yes.
let me see.
And there is,
Put it on the
this year,
web.
It's,
What
I'm
time?
wrong, it's 5 to 7.
5 to 7?
Yeah.
I thought we were told 4 to 6,
Yeah, I think
but
she wants it there by 4.
tickets are 15 for adults.
That's what I think. I think it's some of the things that are being brought in for it.
Put it on the website.
It is. It is.
20 for 2 if you want both ham and roast beef, it's
or
20.
a double portion of meat.
Yeah, right. Okay, now let me get back to my minutes because.
And takeout
Okay.
is available.
Takeout is available and children are less, but I don't remember what it said.
Children.
So that's not an
Children
all you
under-
can eat.
Children
Children.
are less.
You can have it with your ham and.
The price is less.
Are they allowed? Which one
Yes,
of you is getting children to vote?
children,
I'm bringing my children, but they won't be
Right
voting.
now.
has nothing to do with voting.
All right, let's move on to old business.
Confused.
Just a few things to update on. Like, we talked about a lot of this already, but the DEC update, Bob touched on it. We don't really have anything more to say that they were supposed to be here today. They did start today, but the rain obviously postponed them. Tomorrow they should be finishing the paving, retopping the paving of what needed to be fixed. That should be the last thing we need to do, and I would expect them to be contacting us to close this project out after it's fixed. And all I can say is good riddance. I'm glad to get this done, close the book. How long has it been? I mean, enough's enough, and I'm just really happy to end this chapter and move on. And then that'll allow us to proceed with what we really like to look at is how we're gonna use this park, screening, what all the stuff we've been talking about for years at this point. But again, that will certainly take shape next year after we close this out. Scenic Hudson, we did receive the report. I don't know, did we have that last month? I don't know if we did or not, but I did distribute a copy of the report that they sent me to the board. It's there's quite a bit of pages there. It's a rough draft of some ideas. It really, I'm gonna say, it certainly helps us to look at, to get started with, but it's really something we can just proceed with. Obviously, it's a really preliminary, rough draft of some ideas that we threw out there. They tried to incorporate, didn't get all of them, put some of them in there. It certainly needs a lot of work, and it's something we will start working on. Like I said, once we get past this DEC, it's something we're going to be working on for several months. We'll probably try to incorporate, maybe a public subcommittee when we proceed with this. But there's, it's certainly going to be a lot of work needed to be done on it, and we'll certainly allow, as soon as we know. We'll certainly involve as many people that want to be involved as we can without getting too out of control, and try to get some ideas together so we can look at proceeding next year.
It was helpful to, you know, to get together with Scenic Hudson and talk through it as we went around, but the report that they actually came out with did not answer some of the questions that we had asked them. You know, as far as which types of vegetation would be best for this and that. There's a little bit in there, but like you say, there's more work to be done.
It's a starting point, you know, and they basically told us, I mean, they told us it was gonna be a rough draft, something to start with, and, you know, again, you know, they didn't have all the resources they would like to have to put into something like this. And, you know, again, it's certainly helpful, and I'm glad they came up with this, and they came up and met with us and helped us out with this. It gives us a conversation piece to get moving with and start with, so. But yeah, I certainly want to thank them as well for everything they have done to help us get started. The sidewalk, Bob mentioned that has been put in. I just want to, you know, thank the highway department again. You know, kind of short notice. I told them, you know, right after our last meeting, I says, hey, let's get this done before election day. It'd be nice to have it. You know, the weather was going to change anyway, so they're very quick to do the work. You know, they did 99% of it. They, you know, framed it up, leveled it up, got it all ready. Basically, I came over with a few guys and helped them pour it. But they did the bulk of the work, and, you know, I certainly appreciate them jumping on that and getting it done as quick as we did.
I think that came out pretty nice as well.
It really will certainly help save the building, the traffic going in and out of there, the stones and mud and stuff. It's definitely going to help, and you know, it's something we probably should have done before. But again, it's one of those things. You wait until you really realize you have a problem, and then you do it. We should, you know, but it's done, and it looks very nice. And again, I want to thank them for what they've done on it. Revenue update. Just to let everybody know, this month we received sales tax payment from the county, and I also have the draft numbers for the mortgage tax. The sales tax is actually in your deposit list on the back. Was the largest sales tax payment we've received since I've been supervisor. It would not be in that. It's in the reports I hand out to the board every month. Third quarter sales tax payment was $100,914.11. And again, I'm going to repeat that. That's the largest one quarter payment we received in 10 years. Sign of the times, the revenues have been coming up slightly over the past few years. Again, you know, what does it contribute to? Local sales tax. And I say it every time, the more people spend local, the better it helps the county and the towns. So this is a perfect example. It has been running approximately 6 to 7% above last year's revenues, which were running about 6 or 7% from the year before. So we're trending up on the revenues, which certainly helps offset the town tax that we have to collect. That's why we're not able to not increase taxes for, you know, the past 8, 9 years. So it certainly is helpful. We are on track. If the bottom doesn't fall out for the last quarter payment, which we don't receive until January, we're on track to have approximately $45,000 additional revenue above what we budgeted for the year, which is outstanding. That's great. We did increase the budget revenue amount by $10,000 for next year's budget, but at that rate, even if it levels out or even drops a hair, we should still be fine with a little additional revenue. Again, all I could say is please spend local. It certainly helps, again, the county tax rate and the town tax rate. So I'm just thrilled to see something of that nature instead of reporting it's going down. The mortgage tax rate, this is a draft amount. It's not the exact amount, but this is probably very, very close. The second payment, which we get 2 payments biannually, $24,482, which puts us at $50,615 for the year. We budgeted $40,000, so we're going to have approximately $10,600 above revenue as well on the mortgage tax. Again, great news. Mortgage tax, a couple of years we had it down in the 20s, where we budgeted over budgeted. This year we put the revenues up to $40,000, and we're ending up around $50,000, so we're going to have a little extra revenue as well from the mortgage tax, which is excellent news. So all positive news as far as where we are at this point. Again, where it continues, if it continues to go up or down, who knows, but we're in really good shape for this year, and hopefully it continues next. New business. I'll move on. The first line I put on the agenda was something I just for some reason forgot we did last month. We adopted the local law for the veterans exemption already, so let's scratch that. So we'll move on to adopting the 2018 budget. We have a motion to adopt the budget as presented.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
So you-
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Carried. Next item on the agenda was purchase some new chairs. We have had these chairs that we're sitting in for the board, not the audience, since Mary could say for at least 15 years.
I think it's more than that.
More than that,
More
I'm
than
sure. We've whittled down from when we had, I don't know, several
Ray
more.
could probably tell you better how long.
Wow.
They were here when you were on the board, right?
So what it comes down to is, we've whittled down to approximately, what, 5 chairs, 6 chairs left. They're failing in structural integrity, so I'm just gonna say, I think they're probably near their end of their useful life. So what we did is we got some, a quote for some new chairs, and while we're at it, we're going to purchase a chair for the clerk and the building inspector, and enough to put 7 people at the table. So basically, we're looking at 10 chairs,
7 plus a secretary. so-
plus a secretary. So we're looking at 10 new chairs.
Which one did you pick?
We picked you saw, the middle chair, which
Oh, yes,
seemed to
the
be
middle
everybody
chair.
liked. And we did decide to go with a midnight blue color for the bottom seat, a dark blue color. The
Then you have
back,
to change the rug.
the back will be black. The back will be black. Yeah, well,
We have a lot of money, I mean, you know.
so, what I did is I got a quote from WB Mason, and also have a couple quotes from the magazines that we get all the time with office furniture in to give some comparables. The quote for the chairs, they come out to $230.34 per chair, no tax, no
That's delivered.
delivery. That's
That's
delivered,
delivered.
that's including your delivery. And just to give an idea, I printed some of these off. We're right in the ballpark. I mean, they're anywhere from $229 to $259 for the same style chair, but that does not include shipping or shipping, which is going to bring it up over what we're paying. So, I don't know if anybody wants to look at those, but what I'm proposing is that we proceed with WB Mason's quote for the 10 chairs with midnight blue bottom. They will have rollers on them, so where these dig in and scratch going back and forth on the carpet, these will be rolling chairs, they'll move, it'll be much more comfortable, and I think we could probably,
Go
like I
for it.
said, put these to rest. So
Go for it.
I'm proposing that we accept that, taking the money from, we do have money, we did not budget this, so, $2,300, we do have some extra funds in a couple accounts that we can take this out of. So I'm going to propose we take $1,000 out of the engineering line, which is 1440.4, which we have $2,000 and we're not using. And I want to take the other $1,303.40 out of 1620.41 heating oil. Gives us a total of $2,303.40. We have an excess amount in the heating oil line this year since we didn't have much in the spring, and this fall has been pretty warm so far. We have over $5,000 left in that line, so we have plenty to take the $1,300 out. So that being said, I propose we accept the WB Mason quote and proceed with ordering the chairs.
Does the color change the quote? I hope not.
No,
I wouldn't think so.
no.
I'm looking at the color on here.
Anybody
Well,
want
first, are you in favor
to
of the
make a motion to
I'm
accept
in
the
favor of the midnight blue.
I'll make a motion.
Dawn made the
Second.
motion, Bob seconded it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, I'd
Did we
also
have
like
them in
to,
time for Christmas?
there will be two weeks, I believe, two to 3 weeks tops, so we will certainly have them for December.
Won't have them in time for election day,
No, not at all.
which is another time when the road gets scratched.
It does get a lot of use, and that's something we should do, yes, so.
We've actually had the planning board, in particular and the zoning board, usually asking for new chairs for quite some time. And we're overdue.
Okay, we do have a board member that term expired, that we missed by a month. I'd like to reappoint Ripley Hathaway to the BAR, Board of Assessment Review. stated from the time period of 10/1/2017 through 9/30/2022.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. And the last thing I didn't have on here was talking about the truck. I think Bob talked about it a little bit. Jimmy would like to proceed with surplusing his pickup truck on a conditional agreement of when he can actually take ownership of the new one, because we can't be without a pickup. When he can actually take shipment of the new one to actually have the authority to go ahead and put this right on the auction site so we can get it out there and sell it. So what I'd like to do is just pass a motion to allow him, for us to surplus the 2011 Ford F-350 pickup. Again,
Upon delivery.
upon delivery of the new one, so he doesn't have to wait for the next meeting. If it comes in 2 weeks, he can go ahead and put it on the auction site and get rid of it.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Who made the motion? I'm sorry, Bob.
Okay, the last piece of business for the supervisor report, I just want to bring up next month's meeting is on December 4th, Monday, December 4th. I have a conflict on that evening. I cannot make that board meeting. So what I'd like to do is propose we move the board meeting to Tuesday, the 5th. We commonly do. If there's a holiday, we always move it to the next day. Proposing we move our board meeting from December 4th to December 5th, which is Tuesday evening, at the same time, 7 p.m. Excuse me, 7 p.m. Okay, board's in agreement. So 7 p.m. December 5th. And we will put that on the website to make sure. Right, we'll make
Thank
sure.
you. I will look for it if I can get into it.
Okay, supervisor report. I just want to comment on a couple things. County business has really been a lot of budget talks, not a whole lot to inform anybody. The revenues obviously in the town are doing good. That means the revenues in the county are doing good. We're probably going to have an extra $1.5 million at least in sales tax revenue unbudgeted for the county, which should go a long way to help out offsetting any increases on the tax. I still have not seen a budget proposal for the year, so I do not know what the controller is proposing, or the budget officer is proposing for the county, but it will certainly be a push from several supervisors, I believe, this year, not only me, but to keep the tax from going up again. So I don't know yet. I don't have the information. They wait until the very last second to provide that for the county.
There
But I
might be a
will.
little decrease.
I wouldn't hold your breath on that, but you never know. I don't know. I certainly would hope for at least a 0% increase, if not a decrease, but I don't see how it would work. Just to say, I wanted to make sure everybody realizes the lighting in front of the town hall has been out for a while. I called National Grid. We have 5 lights out here that are on sensors that work half the time. Sometimes they're on, sometimes they're off. Lately they've been off more than on. I did call them about 8 days ago and said, could you please send somebody down here to fix these things? So I was hoping they'd get here for the election, obviously, because we have a lot of people coming here tomorrow. It's going to be dark. It doesn't look like they didn't make it, obviously, today because they're not working. Maybe they'll show up tomorrow. I doubt it, but they said they had 7 to 10 days to respond. So I think they're going to hold us to the last 10 days the last 10th day to get here to fix them. But just so people know that we are working on it. We may actually put some temporary lighting out, but a sign or something just to light it up a little bit, because it is fairly dark out there.
Yeah.
And we have 500-600 people coming to eat and coming to vote. So we'll see what we can do to lighten it up a little bit out there.
Well, we do have the lights working along the sidewalk to the community.
They are lit up on the sidewalk.
That helps.
And there's a floodlight, but it's not, it's still not bright. It's not lit up enough. So we'll see what we can do to try to help that out. And again, I apologize for not having, up there. I was hoping they'd get here quicker than they have, so. And just to comment on something that was presented to the board, I don't know if it was last month or the month before, about a noise ordinance. We will be looking at that. We haven't done anything with it, but when we review our policies, which is January, which is, a month and a half, we will be certainly looking at that to update that, and we will
Thank you.
follow on
And
that.
when you're through, I have something to add to that I forgot to put on it, but it.
That was a very comprehensive noise ordinance that you provided a copy of.
I really looked around to many different towns, and that really had a lot of specifics in it, and it really fit our community.
You know, we would certainly be able to use some of it. I don't know
Well,
about all of it, but there's a lot in that.
There's
I
a
mean,
lot in there, and I think you mentioned, to quote you, you said it's better to be, you said something about being proactive.
Absolutely.
It's going to happen.
Absolutely. And that's why it is on my radar to put it on when we do our
So
policy
we know I have
updates.
something to add to it that I gave to the ZBA, which I didn't give to you people.
Okay,
So
all right. That and I think that's about it. Anybody has any questions about the county, please, any county business, please contact me, any town business, obviously. And again, you know, anybody, you spread the word, at dinner tomorrow night for the election dinner, please spread the word to show up and support the dinner. It's always good food, and get here early because 2 years ago I came late and I couldn't eat. They were sold out, so, which is not a bad thing, so. But yes,
reserve.
I could reserve, couldn't I?
I'll reserve, I will reserve for you.
Okay, well, I'm gonna come early this year, I'm not gonna get left out again,
And
so.
that's okay. And that's check, taken
Yep.
care of.
There you go. Other than that, that's about all I have, so we'll move on to motion to pay abstracts.
I just forgot one thing, is that I did go to the zoning board of appeals meeting in October, and they finally got back to me with some response regarding the unified solar permit. There is some interest in learning more about that, and so I will be in contact with Robin Reynolds from the Capital Region Economic Development Council and have her come down and explain a little bit more about what this unified solar permit means to that group. I'll also invite, the planning board or whoever else would like to come and ask her also to, bring some specifics about how it's worked in other communities. It doesn't necessarily need to be a separate, a separate piece of paper, additional paper, so give them a better idea of what it means, and, we'll go from there.
I'd almost like to, I wonder if, instead of having them come and invite them to the planning board, I wonder if you could almost have her go to the planning board meeting.
Well,
pitch it to
yeah,
them.
I was gonna do it like together, somehow together with both of them, not necessarily have a separate meeting.
Okay,
However her schedule works out.
okay.
Just not that it's, so we could go to there, maybe it's go to the zoning board and invite planning board, or, however that works out.
Because I really would like to have the planning board on board with it, if they're interested, and I'd really like their input as far as guidance. So, I mean, I really like them to be the ones addressed.
Yeah.
If they're involved, inclined to go
Yeah.
through with them, we
Definitely.
certainly will take their input.
My goal is to have both of them participate,
Okay,
so we'll have her come down.
okay, good, excellent, thank you.
The zoning board is not gonna meet this
Right,
month,
right.
and their meeting night will change.
Right, I believe it's gonna be December 20th, yeah,
So,
yeah, so we'll have to work around that.
Okay, let's pay the bills. Everybody got one.
Move to pay general abstract number 11A, vouchers number 283 through 319 in the amount of $7,195.52.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
I move we pay general abstract number 11, this is the prepaid for the electric, vouchers 280 through 282, in a total of $172.75.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
I have highway abstract number 11, vouchers number 113 through 127, in the amount of $11,848.61.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
I move we pay trust and agency number 9, vouchers 30 through 33, in the amount of $1,607.59.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, move on to public comments, public communication. Want to add?
I have to stand up again.
Please.
Aye.
You said wait.
Oh, you doesn't.
I think what I wanted to add to the noise regulation is something very important. That any public place that holds any kind of event must have the sound confined. When I go to a restaurant in Rhinebeck or Hudson, you and I can't hear each other because there's music or maybe the sound, the walls or whatever, how they built the place, it doesn't really absorb sound and we can't hear each other. It's very important they must contain the sound. I have had 2 complaints about an event that was held here on Route 9, and people were afraid, I'm telling you, they're afraid to talk up. The sound was booming. One person I know very well, the other one I don't. But I think they're really afraid to speak up. There are more people applying in the community for events, and this is going to be a very big item. You're annoying your neighbors.
I don't know if we can actually monitor, the sound is contained other than putting like a decimal limit on something. That's what you're gonna be looking at,
I am very well aware of decibels.
Okay.
That's my field,
Okay.
okay? But it has to be contained. When you go to a restaurant and they have music, you don't hear it outside of the restaurant. When you approach the door, you may hear it, but it's contained within that building.
I'm not sure.
And if you have an event in a residential area, you've got to be kidding me. You're going to have a boom box because someone has an event there and you're going to annoy your neighbors? And then it's a close proximity. It could happen to you.
Mm-hmm.
Your mother could sell her grandma's place.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? You're going to sell it. They're going to, I want an event. Right?
No, I understand what you're saying,
So if it happens to someone else, it's also going to happen to me and to you.
Mhm.
So that's what I'm saying. It's already happened. And I'm just encouraging people, complain, call the police. I think that's where you're at. It's beginning.
Yeah, once it becomes a nuisance to.
It has become a nuisance, and it's going to become a nuisance.
And that's why we will be certainly looking to update this.
And there's one
take
other
care
thing. I don't know too much about lighting, but Hank Himmelreich does. I think he does. Anyway, he has recommended someone to come to my home to do some things for me. And I think that's the next step about lighting. I have a pond, and I have a new neighbor, very nice couple, and I don't want to have one of these salt lights, I don't know what you call them, that, will go into their house. So he's going to propose something around the pond, so if you're visiting me, your car doesn't go into the pond, and so I can see coming home at night. So that's the next thing that you really have to consider about lighting, how it's going to annoy my neighbor. So I'm going to try to get on that. And I'll see what I can get from other communities. But I think I really need an expert who can talk about it. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Multitasking. Since the DSC project is finally coming to an end, do we know what the final bill will be for the town? It's around 90,000 or something like that.
It's, right now, well, with the down payment we gave them, which was $5,400 or something like that, the total was just under 90.
Okay.
So it's probably gonna be here more once they do the last, the blacktop, because we do have to pay 10% of that. So neighborhood 90,000.
And then will they, kind of publish how much everything costs, I mean, some sort of real budget? I mean, that's a DC, I mean, how much, what they did really and how much it cost?
That's a
Would
sore
that be
subject,
available?
because I've been asking for that,
Okay,
for a breakdown,
All right.
an itemized breakdown.
okay,
I still have not seen
all
it,
right.
but that's gonna be one of my contingencies before we
Yeah.
pay the bill. I'd like
Okay.
to see an itemized breakdown.
And then then that will be public?
And that will be public,
Okay, great.
absolutely.
Thank you
But
so
as of
much.
yet, we do not have that.
All right, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, any other comments? No? No? Last chance? Ray looks like he's thinking about it.
Oh, tomorrow.
Nobody's gonna see it in time, but everybody here, make sure you tell everybody to vote, please. Certainly, wish everybody well in the election, but yes, tell everybody, please come out and vote. County races, town races, absolutely. So, very important.
And good luck to all the people who need to be here at 5 o'clock in the morning.
And very much so, I'm gonna do a preliminary, pre-thank you to everybody that's going to spend their entire day, most of their day, afternoon and evening here tomorrow. We certainly appreciate the help. I know it's a long, long day, so thank you for everybody ahead of time. And I also want to pre-thank the Village Green Committee for putting on the dinner. I know a lot of people look forward to that dinner, and there's a lot of work that goes into it, and we certainly appreciate their help and everything they've done, and all the volunteers for helping out with that as well. So, that being said, unless I've missed anything, I'll
Move to
entertain,
adjourn.
move to adjourn.
I'd like to
Oh.
offer something, maybe for tomorrow night, this little light to help people get into vote.
Maybe you can hand some out to
I do
people.
have a big light, isn't it, a construction light,
Oh, one of those
when
ones.
it's moved in,
We're gonna-
so people could see, so if Jimmy
We're gonna
wants
take
it,
care of it.
I
We'll take
have
care
the
of something.
wiring and the light, so I could certainly lend it free of charge.
Very good. Motion to adjourn, do we have a second?
Who did the motion?
Bob,
Evan?
second, pick one of them. All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Good
Thank you.
night, everyone.
Good night.